Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Wednesday, March the 1st, 2023. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am here to go over an NBA DFS 9-game slate. So we have all kinds of stuff going on today, some great games, a bunch of back-to-backs, all kinds of information that we want to share with you out there. And special welcome to our DFS Coach Talk members. Fantastic to see you guys out there and gals. And for those just joining us, great to have you with us as well. So fantastic stuff. Hopefully everybody is jumping in. Let's see. I'm going to go to comments real quick and I'll mention a couple of things. Yeah, we're going to have everybody here filtering in until everybody gets notified that we are going live. Then it takes a few minutes to get everybody to jump in. But great to see everybody today. If you notice, a couple of updates, did a little background change and got a little bit different look here to the podcast. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. And I know Crash is going to be excited about it for sure. And just wanted to say welcome to March, everybody. We've got a new DFS Coach Talk offer for March, and it is a freebie. So if you would like to check out Coach Talk and you have not been a part of what we're doing here yet, this is your chance. From today through Sunday, 100% free. All you got to do is jump on Twitter, go to @DFS Coach Talk, and then just DM us and say you would like to try our March Madness freebie. And so Wednesday through Sunday of this week, you get everything that we have here at Coach Talk free. That includes all of our podcasts, our Discord, our lineups, our a whole bunch of information, and we discuss everything from DraftKings lineups, which we do a core that we give out to our members. We also do full lineups for FANDUEL and YAHOO. And we'll also mix in some PrizePicks selections. Crash is our PrizePicks expert. And also some underdog lineups that we're also been messing with a little bit here lately. So we've really got a little bit of everything. If you are playing DFS, that's certainly our main focus, but certainly could take all the information we're sharing with you to utilize on any forum that you're playing or are utilizing. So love to hear some comments too. If you like the new look to our podcast, I think it's sort of cool. Maybe grab some people's attention. And, today we've got all kinds of things to do. First of all, again, for those, I just see a whole bunch of people just jumped in now that it's been posted that we're live. Remember, we have a March Madness free membership, and that lasts from today all the way through Sunday. All you have to do, again, is go to our Twitter, which I have posted right there @DFS Coach Talk. You can also DM me directly @Joe Sarvati. But I'd prefer @DFS Coach Talk, and just let us know that you would like to take advantage of the free March Madness membership that we're offering from now through Sunday. So that will be fantastic to have you. I know we have a lot of listeners that are jumping here every day that aren't members. So we would love to have you in there chatting with us in Discord and going through all the information there. So welcome. Real quickly, I'll say hello here in chat. We've got Bankroll Theory, the first one in today. So fantastic to see you, Bankroll Theory. Rose Miller's in here. Love it. Oh, Rose loves the background. Appreciate that, my friend. Pain Blank SM, also known as Dead Presidents. What is up, my friend? Double D, we got one of our double Ds in here, David Dulac. Great to see you, my friend. Hope all is well there. I wonder how your son's basketball team is doing that you're coaching. I hope all that is going very well without question. So Also, Absolute Power. How some absolute winners today for you. Absolute Power. Great to have you in here as well. So make sure to remind anybody else, friends, jump in here, let them know we got to get in here, check it out. We're going to go over this entire 9-game NBA slate. All kinds of information today we're going to share with you. I'm going to fire through these games. We're going to give out a ticket for DraftKings. We're going to give out a ticket for FanDuel. So we've got two giveaways during the podcast for sure. So I would love to have more people jump in here for sure. Also, here are the things we're going to touch on today. I actually jotted them down today because I want to make sure that we cover all these aspects for you. Game by game, we're going to go through all 9 games. We're going to talk about ownerships, projections, where they stand for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo. We're going to go through a little depth and rotation look now that we have all these back-to-backs. We have all these trades that have now settled in. We have injuries, rest days, all kinds of things going. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about that. My 2 favorite things, pace and defensive efficiency. We're going to touch on those as well, which I think are extremely important when you're building your lineup each day. We'll also talk about those back-to-backs. Like I said, with 10 games yesterday and 9 games today, there's a lot of back-to-backs and a lot of shifting of rotations, players sitting for rest, etc. Talk about the Vegas totals to see if some of these games are going to have be competitive. There's a few that have double-digit spreads, so we want to beware of possible blowouts because we know even one rotation miss of 3-4 minutes can extremely affect your DFS total. So we will talk about that. And then we'll talk a little bit about best plays and fades to go from there. Because that, again, is a huge piece of what we do here. Because for those that have been a part of this for a long time, they know, we utilize every tool in the industry in DFS. We utilize optimizers. We utilize ownership. We utilize everything that you can get an edge in DFS sports. But ultimately, we hand build. And we do that for you, for our listeners, and for our members specifically, because we just don't believe the average guy or gal has enough money to max enter 150 lineups in every contest. It's great if you can do that. More power to you. But, unless you're really bankrolled, that's just not the best option. So what I personally do, and I think what we've tried to coach to, is we hand build a couple of lineups, a couple of rotations, and we place those specifically in a lot of single entries, cash games, and then we'll hand pick a few GPPs to put those in as well. So that is something that we've done from the beginning. So you can take that from here, take that information if you hand build like most people. I think 97% of people that play DFS don't 150 max enter, but it's possible that even more do. So that is something that you can take from here and build it any which way you go. But I think the information you're going to get here is going to help you win in DFS. It's going to help you in your prop plays if you're a PrizePicks or one of those sites, if that's your thing, or Underdog. Any of those you can apply those to. If you strictly play the games themselves, I think this will let you know sort of what we're expecting rotational wise and how these games are going to flow. I mean, if you don't game script them, then I think you're missing the boat a little bit in, when you're building lineups. Because, the main thing here is, for me, with the success I've had in DFS for 8 years on a consistent basis, you got to walk through these games. You got to see them, understand them, game script them, and then put the players in there that you think are in the best positions to have a maximum effort. There's certain things with, you're not going to be able to avoid. If somebody twists an ankle, gets in foul trouble, there are a lot of things that you can't control. But when we're putting all of this information together, Crash, Steven, Deb, of course, our whole team, we're evaluating all of those things, even the propensity for players to get injured, for the propensity for players to get in foul trouble, things like that are all in play as we're putting these together. But I think you can hand tune and fine tune these lineups as you're going by looking at all the aspects of everything that we're talking about here. So we've got a lot to do today. Let's dive in. We have a few more people that have jumped in. JT, how are you, man? We know that's Justin Timberlake, and we appreciate you taking time out from your busy musical day to join us. Michael Motorcycle, what's up, my friend? I believe that's Michael Jordan, if I'm not mistaken. I appreciate you, Jordan, joining us. MJ, of course, one of our team members at Coach Talk is BFC, boy from Cali. He's in here. Glad you're with us today, buddy. He does an awesome job making sure our members have the projected ownership numbers each day, and really an important tool in building lineups. All right, let's see. The beard makes you look even smarter. Damn, you looking good, bro. Wow, David, thank you, my bud. I appreciate that. I need it. You know, age does not go away unless unless you're not here anymore. So I guess you got to try to cheat it a little bit. I'm trying to do my LeBron stuff and cheat a little bit of age. So, and by the way, this beard is 100% natural, no dye on there or anything, no altering. Hey, you do what you got to do. That's all there is to it. All right. This is a chance for everybody to hit the thumbs up. Really would appreciate a bunch of thumbs up. That is important as we try to build on here so that more and more people can check us out and more people have the opportunity to join Coach Talk. All right, we have got to get started, my friends. We've got a lot to cover today in these 9 games, and we're going to come out of here with some big winners. Tomorrow's slate, by the way, is only a 4-gamer, so a little quieter of a slate. 2 things. One, I want to thank Deb. Deb did a great job yesterday. She had a really nice podcast, even though she was having some technical difficulties. She still got it done, grounded out, and she provided lineups for our members that won on FanDuel, DraftKings, and YAHOO. So hats off to you, Deb, as always. We are so lucky to have you as part of the Coach Talk team, and I know our family does appreciate you as well. Crash has something going today, but he'll be here tomorrow to break that 4-game slate down for you. So, all right, my friends, again, if you can comment throughout, let me know if you like the new background, the new look, tweaked a few horns and whistles here with the podcast. I just want to make sure everybody likes it. So good stuff. And we are ready to go here. Don't forget, keep an eye on that scroll on the bottom. If you haven't joined us, this is the time. You can do it free from today through all the way through Sunday. Travis Wyndham from the Wyndham franchise is here. Mr. Wealthy, Mr. Big Bucks, but he's a humble, good man, and we appreciate that he's part of the Coach Talk family. All right, my friends, we have 9 games. There are 2 7 p.m. games Eastern, and the first one is a pretty good snoozer of a game, if you ask me, but there may be a one-off or 2 here that we can talk about. So at 7 p.m., it's the Chicago Bulls. They're 28-34 at the Detroit Pistons, 15-47. Chicago comes into the game on the second night of a back-to-back. They played last night, so we got to consider that. Detroit, it's an island game for them. Pace-wise, Chicago, bottom half at 18th in pace. And if you've played the Bulls or Bulls games lately, it has been a gut punch. The Bulls games have not been super exciting. There's an occasional one that spikes, but it's been very confusing on performances of the Bulls and Bulls games in general. So that definitely clouds this game a bit. It is a pace-up game for the Bulls, though, Detroit being 9th. And then defensively, Chicago, again, not DFS friendly. They're 6th team defensive efficiency in the league. And we know Detroit has been at the bottom all year. They're 28th, which is actually better than they were. They were 29th and 30th for much of the year. So as far as injuries in this game, Patrick Williams is probable. Javonte Green is out. For Detroit, Bogdanovich is probable. And we've got Isaiah Livers, who twisted his ankle the other day. I do not believe he's going to play. He's listed as doubtful, but it was a pretty big ankle sprain. And then the other two big guys, Duran and Stewart, are both out. So it's a whole different look in there for Detroit. So that'll give you a bit of a game set. Let's look at possibly projected lineups here real quickly. We've got Beverly, Caruso, Levine, DeRozan, and Vukovic for Chicago. Hayes, Ivy, Bogdanovich, Bagley, and Wiseman. So weird to see some of these guys in these places. As far as from a depth standpoint, who can affect this game as well? We've got, on the Chicago side, Kobe White's getting minutes. Dosunmu is getting minutes. Patrick Williams. You never know if you're going to get an appearance by Drummond, Jones, or Terry. But in essence, really, Beverly, Caruso, Levine, DeRozan, Vuk, White, Dosunmu, and Williams with Drummond backing up Vuk is sort of going to be the nine-man rotation. Now, it's 113.75 implied total for the Bulls, and it's only a 107.75 implied for the Pistons. 221.5 is the total, so a bad total. And it is Chicago as a road favored by 6. So that, makes you feel like the game could be a little bit closer. On the Pistons side, we also have some other rotational guys in here. Burks, Diallo, if we didn't mention, Ivy, if he's in, and maybe an appearance by Corey Joseph, RJ Hampton, guys like that. Not a fun game, not a pretty game by any stretch. Not a game I'm going to be focusing on a lot, without question. I think tough game to get out of the chute with. There's certainly a lot of value here. And I think you'll find with all these back-to-backs, all the guys sitting, and then 9 million LA Lakers guys being at the top of the ownership board, there's all kinds of value everywhere. So it's one of those days, or nights, I should say, where you can really choose your strategy. I mean, you still can go stars and scrubs easily with all the value, or you can create a little bit of a medium build to be somewhat contrarian, which isn't a bad strategy either. There's a few of the big dogs are not on the slate, so that's something to consider. You don't have a Joker, you don't have a Luka, you don't have some of these guys. So it gives you a couple different options on your builds. As far as this game goes, do you go with, you certainly could go with a Bagley or Wiseman if you're looking to go big on the Detroit side. Vuk's not a good defender. And, their interior, since they've been going with a smaller lineup and put Patrick Williams off the bench, certainly have some holes in the paint. So you got two basic centers here with Bagley and Wiseman's expected to be in the starting lineup for Detroit. Going with one of those guys is not a bad idea. I think James Wiseman has potential, but does he get the big minutes? Can you trust him in there? Does he get in foul trouble? That's the decision that has to be made here. And we'll go over ownership and talk about how some of these guys fall out with everything here shortly as well. On the other side of the ball, Vuk is a great play today. I mean, let's face it, this game stinks, but the spread is close enough. And I'll tell you right now, Bagley and Wiseman can't defend me. I think I could do it up and under and possibly get a shot off. I may have to give them a little shot in the midsection, but I think I could get a shot off. These guys are not NBA defenders, and it's just that simple. So, with the fact that Duran and Stewart are out, who are good, decent enough defenders and have a presence in the paint, and then even no Livers probably, you definitely could attack the interior. We know DeRozan, even though he's a guard playing somewhat of power forward / small forward, he gets a lot of his work done in the paint and in the mid-level. He's one of the best, mid-level shooters, 15 to 18 feet that we've ever seen in the game. So he's certainly a good option today, but he's just been atrocious. So it would be a gamble, but certainly one that can pay off if this game does stay close. but definitely not my favorite game on the board. Have a one-off maybe with Chicago if I want to spend up for a Vuk or DeRozan. Not going to go to the backcourt there. Don't trust it. And then on the Detroit side, if you want to get a value big, you can certainly go that way, but not a game I would load up on right out of the chute. I think that would be very, very dangerous. All right, let me double check real quick. I don't want to miss anybody because it gets nuts. CMO 614. How are you, my friend? Great to have you in here. Daniel Uher, thanks. Appreciate you. Great to have you with us. I think I've seen you in here before, but again, for all those that are new or that haven't been part of the Coach Talk family yet, take advantage of this March Madness, which today is March 1st. So we are coming in like a lion, and we are offering free membership from today through Sunday. Just go to our Twitter at DFS Coach Talk, shoot us a DM and say, hey, we want to take advantage of that March Madness free membership, and you can jump in with us. All right, go to game 2, family. And don't forget, you can always put questions in there. Hey, I missed Joe K. How could I miss Joe K? He's a superstar, man. I'm so proud that we have Joe K in here with us. I love it. All right, we ready for game 2, people? It's the other 7 o'clock game. It's the Phoenix Suns 33-29 at the Charlotte Hornets 20-43. Talk about the wheels coming off for poor Hornets. My goodness. In this game, we've got Phoenix with Ross and Shamet out. And Charlotte, PJ Washington, doubtful. I don't think he's going to play. And Cody Martin is out. And by the way, feel free, because I can only look at so many screens. If anything changes on any information, if anybody else pops up that is in or out, please feel free to throw that in the chat here, and we will adjust to it, and we will make it happen. Michael Perlman, you're the man. And now we can officially start because we have Josh, Crash, Giannis, Davis is back. And he likes the background. Good, because that's going to be behind you tomorrow, my friend. It's one of the choices you can pick, and boom, we're going to try to pop the screen, man, scare people, and into loving what we're doing here at Coach Talk. So thanks, Josh. Appreciate you, man. Always do. All right, with that game, as we were saying, with those guys out, let's look at the line here, the latest line. We've got a 229 total, which is reasonable. In fact, it's the third highest. There's really 5 games between 233 and 228. So they're all right in that same neighborhood. And then we have, 2 terrible games and the one that we already discussed, which isn't that great. So there's no 240, 245ers tonight. So you have to think, when you're looking at these, where are these games? How many points are going to be put on the board? It's not as obvious as usual with some of the games. So, I know everybody in the world's going to, how many Lakers are too many Lakers? You're going to see that 9 million times, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. But I think you're going to have to spread out your exposure to some different teams. If you want to take anything down, if you're putting, 2 to 5 to even 8 or 10 lineups in, you're going to want to have a real good hand pick of some of these games. This is certainly one that you can look at. 229 total, like I say. The fear is the blowout. Phoenix is favored by 10. And again, they have their bodies back. And, Charlotte losing one of the better guards in the league for the season in Ball, that's a big, big blow to that team. And, are they going to shut down? Are they going to keep playing through it? We'll see how that goes. In that 229 total, we have 119.5 implied for Phoenix, 109.5 for the Charlotte Hornets. So, again, for those that have listened for a long time, we always talk about it. That magic number for me, I like to look at is if they have an implied total over 115, right in that neighborhood, it makes me feel a lot better that there are going to be enough DFS points available there out on the floor. And let's face it, Vegas, they can be wrong, but they're usually right. So we definitely want to weigh a lot of that with with exactly what Vegas is telling us to do here. So, projected lineups here, it's looking like for Phoenix, Paul, Booker, Craig, KD. How about KD? How weird is that sounding? And Ayton. So if you can figure out how they're going to chop that usage up, good luck with it. And the pricing stinks. They're all overpriced because DFS isn't used to them all playing together. So you got a blowout potential, a decent total, but nothing to write home about. And now you have Paul, Booker, Durant, and Ayton all chopping up this usage, and they're all priced high. So that is the tough one. And for me, it makes it pretty easy. I'm not going to be pro Phoenix today at all. I just don't feel it. I don't think it makes sense. If this game stays close somehow, can it break the slate? It can. But I think you got a game theory in here, and I don't like the look of it. Charlotte's projected lineup looks like Rozier, Oubre, Hayward, Thor, and Williams. So yeah, a little lopsided there, without question. You also have the potential for Dennis Smith starting. I think that's probably more the case. The different sites have different people. As far as RotoWire, they projected a different lineup without DJ starting. I think he probably starts, so I agree a little bit more with RotoGrinders that has Smith Jr., Rozier, Hayward, Thor, and Williams. I think that's more likely to be the starting lineup. But again, you still have Oubre, Richards, Kai Jones. I mean, their bench is thin. As you may see some Zvi Mihailuk, believe it or not, or even a Brace McGowan's sighting. So it's not pretty for Charlotte. Again, my game theory here is I think this game does not stay close. I think Phoenix hammers them. I think Charlotte's going to mail it in fairly quickly. Can you still get some value here? No question about it. I mean, if Charlotte shows up, they're going to need a phenomenal game from a Rozier or a Hayward. Hayward's still cheap, 6.4 on DraftKings. Dennis Smith, if you believe he's going to start, and we'll have that news, 5.1K. Rozier's fair at 7.2. Now the ball's out. You can certainly go there. So if you want to buy up for one of the Hornets or really go in, I mean, you got JT Thor's 3K min if you think he gets enough minutes. You all know how much I like Mark Williams. I was on the Mark Williams bandwagon the day he was drafted, and I was asking for Plumlee to get out of town so they could make room for this guy. And you guys saw what he did the other day. I think he had 16 points and 21 rebounds. I mean, this kid can play. I knew he was ready for the NBA when he came in. He was NBA ready, and he's only going to get better. But he's got to face a tough Phoenix team here. And if the game starts getting lopsided, you're going to see Nick Richards. You're going to see, a lot of different rotations they're going to use. So I say that in a nutshell. Let's talk about a couple more things because we want to go on make sure we stay on this. It is a island game for both teams, so that is good to know. Phoenix is 17th in pace. Charlotte's the fastest team in the league, but pump the brakes there. Without LaMelo Ball, you're not going to quite be the fastest team in the league. So I back that up a little bit. So it is a pace up for Phoenix, but not the same if Smith or Rozier are running the point as opposed to Ball. So it's not as much. People are going to get excited and see that pace up for Phoenix, and I think they're going to overreact. Defensively, Phoenix is 8th, and Charlotte is 22nd. Charlotte is not a good defensive team, but Mark Williams is a good rim protector. JT Thor can sky as well if he gets enough minutes in that rotation. So, this is going to be the game that is going to get the most fade from me. Like I mentioned here, multiple times, I don't believe, if this was 236, 237, if Vegas really expected this game to score, and maybe the line was 8.5, but you're looking at sub 230 total. You're looking at a double-digit favoritism for Phoenix. And you look at Paul, Booker, Durant, Ayton on the floor together against JT Thor, the rookie Williams, Dennis Smith Jr., whose basically career was written off, Oubre, who's playing okay, but coming back from injury, Rozier's been up and down. Just doesn't look like a game that's going to go well. And I think you got to be careful. I will probably grab a Hornet. Of course, you know I'm partial to Mark Williams, but I'm not going to, it's not like plug and play 100%. 6'3" is a little more expensive than he's been. And again, if the game gets out of control, I just see Nick Richards splitting a bunch of that time with him. Could I go cheaper? Yeah. If Dennis Smith Jr. Is in there, possibly. He has played well when he's gotten in there. Not racing to him, though. Do I want to pay the 7-2 for Rozier? Possibly. Gordon Hayward at 6'4" has thrown some good games together. He's probably going to get some Josh Okogie defense, though, and I really respect that. So that's a little bit scary in itself. So very little exposure to this game. I think you've got some real landmines here that you have to avoid. And there is some ownership coming from this game. So let's do this. We're 2 games in, so we still have a long ways to go. We have 7 games. Let me see who else is here. My man Charlie, my favorite name, Charlie, is out there. Charlie in the Chocolate Factory has joined the discussion. Great to have you in here with us, my friend. Let me see any questions, because I am terrible at checking questions. Let's see. Mr. Wyndham is a slump, needs a cooler takedown. LOL. Okay, Travis, that's all you had to tell me. You're slumped. We get you out. This is slump buster night for Mr. Wyndham. I'm just telling you right now, it's slump buster night. Let me see these questions, because it's hard to watch everything at the same time. Is it Kenrich Williams out for OKC? Okay, so that's good to know. Thank you for that information, Doug L., as known as Doug W. I didn't even say hello to our Doug W. yet. Hi, Doug. That shortens that interior, makes one of the Jalen Williams more likely, one without the Y. So, crazy. And now they're doing their hair the same, even though one's bigger than the other. You can't even tell them apart on the floor hardly anymore. It's I love it. It's hilarious. 2 guys with the same name that almost look alike. So that's nuts. Boy from Cali is saying eat the chalk. Okay, Mr. Chalkbuster, you're the one that always says don't eat the chalk, aren't you? Mr. BFC, I should say. Let's see. I did see a question in here somewhere. Davion Cuff, how are you doing, Coach? Let's have a great night. Not just a good night, Mr. Cuff, a great night. Bev's here. Yay. Bev showed up even without Deb. Oh, my goodness, Bev. Right in the heart. That helps me. Thank you for showing up, Bev. Great to have you with us. Who might be minutes proof in care of blowout for Charlotte? Doug L. wants to know. So who is minutes proofed in the blowout? Well, nobody, in my opinion. Rozier's probably the safest minutes-wise, but he's most expensive. Oubre, if he starts, I think deserves in that same mention. If he comes off the bench, I would say no. RotoWire has him projected starting, whereas RotoGrinders has him coming off the bench. So again, that's a 7 o'clock game. So that'll depend for Oubre. Hayward is not minutes proof. There's no question. They take care of him because of his injury history. He's had a few monster games, but he's also had games where he can sink your ship. JT Thor, you cannot project his minutes. There's no way. And Mark Williams, like I said, I like him the best, he and Rozier, but if the game blows out, nobody. As far as on the Phoenix side, same thing. I mean, how are you going to say anybody's safe there? With that big group starting, it's pushed everybody to the bench. So you could get Payne, Craig, Lee, Landell, Wainwright. You're going to get Baisley. Those guys are all going to come off the bench. TJ Warren. So they're deep. Phoenix is ready to win this thing. And I'll tell you right now, man, that lineup and that team, I think the NBA championship goes through Phoenix this year. And guys all know I love Monty Williams. If anybody can put that unit together working well, Kevin Durant respects him, which he didn't respect his coachers with Brooklyn. I'm, hats off to Deb, because I think the Suns are by far the team to beat. And they're going to, they could beat Charlotte like a drum here. There's no question about it. So to answer your question, Mr. Doug, I don't think anybody's minute safe in that game, to be honest with you. All right, let's see here. I already answered you, Doug. Well, now I just broke it down even more. Do you think the late day Q tag on Simons is viable? Late day tags are always scary. Yes, I think Smith Jr., by the way, Doug, is viable if he starts only, for sure, but not a plug and play by any stretch. But I do like the value, but there's tons and tons of value. So you don't have to force in value like we normally do. All right, Q tag on Simons. Let me look at that real quick, because I want to answer these and not forget them as we're going. I see Simons is out. So you're going to have to, Bankroll Theory, talk to me on that a little bit. Is it Anthony Simons? Anthony Simons. Is it Anthony Simons that you're talking about, or somebody else? Because I think he's out personally, unless he's been upgraded to a Q tag. So Bankroll Theory, fill me in if that's the case. I will answer that for sure. I'd like to see CP3 get one. Yeah, Travis, I really think he's going to. If they stay healthy, dang, I just don't know how. I'm not sure how you take those guys down. Absolute Power says Bojan is in. Doug L says go Williams. Yeah, Mark Williams has done well for me, I got to say, man, no doubt. All right, I just noticed Twitter notification that he is questionable tag. Okay, let's see what happens with that. If anybody can tell me something different, I'm going to update any news, because that's all important. You are correct, sir. Simons has been upgraded. So here's the way I look at this situation. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. That's the kind of stuff that I want to get to know in here, no doubt about it. Thank you, Bankroll Theory. That's why you're one of the OGs in DFS. I look at upgrades or downgrades the day of as a true sign. So I personally, now that I see that, and I'll look more into it and figure all of that out prior to posting lineups, look at the coach speak, jump on Twitter, go through there. But if somebody's upgraded like that from out to questionable, I think he's going to play. No question in my mind. Does that mean I want to play Simons? No. It very well may not, because he could be limited. But how is it going to affect that game? Certainly affects some things, Dame and guys like that. Because basically, yeah, Dame was absolutely incredible lately. That 71, that stretch of the game where he scored 71 was one of the more, it reminded me of when I watched Kobe score 80 and stuff like that. It was just like unreal, 40 footers, 36 footers. But here's the thing. He didn't have anybody else to score. So, Simons can get in there, take a few shots away. That could affect things. So anyway, a great call there, and we'll definitely go over that. Oh, wait a minute. Everybody has to take a moment of silence. It's Deb Lutz. Hello, Deb. You are the queen of DFS. We love you. You are the best. Great job yesterday, and great to have you join us today. Deb's got to like the background, too. We're going to get that background all fixed up for you, so you're looking good, Deb. I know you had some profile shots yesterday. You were looking at screens in all different directions on the ceiling, on the floor. It was amazing. All right, Nathan Feudy, what's up, my friend? I love it. Yes, we should have 32 likes. I don't understand why we don't. What the heck's going on? We should have them all in here, and I hope some more people drift in as we're going. If we can get to 50 concurrent people in here, I'll add a ticket to the mix. So go wake the neighbors, friends, get your pets on there. You know what? We'll take it as we can get it. All right, game 3. Let's keep rolling here. I know everybody's Deb and Crash say I go too slow, but I'm trying to speed up. I just, I like to share. Cleveland Cavaliers at 7:30. We have a plethora of games at 7:30, 3 of them. The first one is the Cleveland Cavaliers 39-25 at the Boston Celtics 44-18. What a game to watch. Can't wait to check this out. Is this a game to focus on DFS-wise? No. None of us are that dumb, I don't think. It's an island game for both teams, so you don't have anybody stressed there of not playing enough minutes. You've got just two really good teams here. Cleveland's so slow, 29th. Boston's slow, 19th. Cleveland's second in defense in the league. Boston's seventh. So you have two of the top 7 defensive teams. You've got no injuries for Cleveland. Muscala questionable for Boston. Gallinari's been out all season. So really both teams 100% ready to go. Real good defensive struggle, playoff type of preview kind of game. It's a 5-point favoritism for Boston and the lowest on the slate, 219 total. So this is where we can catch up on a little time, people. I'm not going to this game. I just don't think it makes sense to me. Can you go with a Jason Tatum? Sure. He's an MVP, probably second or third in the MVP voting right now. And he can always throw a monster game on the board. But he's got all his, guns in the holster here, all his running mates, Smart and Brown and Horford, Williams. The whole group is back. And you've got a phenomenal defensive slow team in Cleveland. So not going to spend up. I just don't think it's the right value spot either to go if you want to pay down for a Smart, Horford, or Williams. Just doesn't make sense to me. And then on the Cleveland side, Mitchell's been fantastic this year. He's a superstar, but he's alongside Garland. And again, I'm from that school of thought. To me, those two guys together are, it's so hard to pay the price for either one of them when either one of them's capable of going off. Mitchell's been better, but he's more expensive. So you're going to have, facing the teeth of that tough Boston defense and that tough Boston bench. Don't want any part of it. And same thing, with the bigs, Mobley and Allen. I mean, I get it. They're good, but not in this matchup. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, listen to these benches. You've got LeVert, Rubio, Wade, Osman. So you've got some people for Cleveland that are going to, get enough minutes to take some DFS points away from Cleveland. Even in a close game, they're going to rotate their guys here. And now that Boston, their depth is nuts. I mean, I know it's, way to go out on a limb, coach, but Boston's tough in the East, man. I know Milwaukee's the team to beat, Crash, so don't have a heart attack. And I know there's Philly's playing good, but I think Boston, if they can keep this bench together, if I had to say right now, I would think it might be Boston and Phoenix at this moment. Because look at this, Smart, Brown, Tatum, Horford, and Williams, and then Brogdon, Derek White, we know what he's done. Grant Williams stepped up. And then even deeper, Hauser, Muscala now that they picked up, Pritchard, old dusted off Blake Griffin. Griffin even stepped in the other day. And Luke Cornett, the big fella, can come in for some threes. Their depth is fantastic. So this is going to be a full pass game for me, people. And I just wanted to go through it all in case you're looking at doing anything with it. But it's only a 107 implied total for Cleveland and only 112 for Boston. So I think we just keep on moving. Let's go to game 2 of the 7:30 games. It's the Philadelphia 76ers against the Miami Heat. And I take that back. This last game was the second lowest. This game is the lowest. That's what I was saving it for. Would you believe it's only a 215 total? That is does not happen that often anymore. But it makes sense. I mean, it's nice that Miami's only a 1.5 favorite, but we've got the same scenario in this game as we do the last one. I'm going to be flipping back and forth watching Cleveland, Boston, and Philly, Miami. Those are the 4 teams that I think can cause a lot of trouble in the playoffs. Great games, fantastic basketball, but not for DFS purposes. You've got, look at these totals, 106.7 implied for Philly, 108.25 for Miami. So that is just not DFS friendly whatsoever. And then you have more support here in the fact that it is the first night of a back-to-back for Philly. And, Joel Embiid is listed as questionable. The Philly plays Dallas tomorrow. So are they going to play Embiid against Miami or Dallas or both? We will see. I expect that he's going to play, but that's where, where that stands right now. But as far as injuries go in this game, that's the other aspect that makes you feel better. I do think Embiid plays. Dedmon's out, so everybody else is good for Philly. Looks like Love and Strus are going to play. They're probable. And the other three guys, Jovic, Lowry, and Yurtseven, they've been out. So you've got full board teams here playing with good records, winning records, and I think these two go after each other hard. But where are you going to break it up? I mean, Butler was terrific the other day. You can get a game from Hero. Love has been a fantastic addition to their team, a perfect fit, if you will. And certainly somebody that you have to consider at 5'6", just because he's so cheap. But again, he's going to face some PJ Tucker defense, which nobody wants to face. And the pace and total of this game is just pathetic. So you can't spend up. In my opinion, I used Embiid as one of my cover guys just because I want, attention to this game. But 11-2 for Embiid in a matchup like this, 10-3 for Harden, 9K for Butler, 8-2 for Bam, pass. I don't want to spend my dollars there. I think you can find a lot better spots to buy up. Great game to watch, not great game to play for DFS purposes, in my opinion. All right, quick check of where we are at. We are gaining some people in here. That's good. Appreciate it, Rose. Hit that like button. Let's see here. 6-game parlay for who? For Crash? Oh my goodness. And you let the Jazz beat you? No. Yeah. DeJounte Murray, when Trae Young plays, man, I just don't trust it. It's one of those, I talk about it all the time. The old LeBron AD, all the stuff where there's two stars that could score 50 points in a game. When they're both playing, it is Russian roulette. And I just feel like that with Murray and both of those guys all the time. Let's see here. Favorite pay up in your wild card contrary take I want. Hey, Deb, you doing a lineup today? Oh, okay. So David's asking Deb. That's okay, David. No worries. I get it. Deb's better than me. I know. So I'll be sharing lineups with everybody later except David Dulac. No, I'm just kidding. I will give you some of those picks. And Deb and Crash, you're welcome to dive in here and share with everybody as we're going. So, all right, I want to mention a few things real quick. If you have the opportunity to check us out, this is the time to do it. Wednesday through Sunday, March Madness, go to @DFSCoachTalk, send us a DM. You want to take advantage of the March Madness freebie, and you can jump in with us for the rest of the week. All right. Here we go to the next one. Now we can get a little bit more interesting. There was a couple of snoozers there, but things change very rapidly, and you'll see a lot more of things that I like going forward here. All right, Brooklyn versus the Knicks. It is 34-27 Brooklyn on Monster Reset for them with a whole new team. Knicks are 36-27 and starting to make some noise. Watanabe, Simmons, and Sumner looks like maybe out. Simmons and Sumner are for sure. Watanabe maybe. He's on the questionable side. Knicks have nobody listed as out for right now. Knicks are favored by 7.5, a 223 total, so nothing to jump out of your seat about, but not bad. 108 implied for Brooklyn. Knicks tick over that mark of 115 at 115.5. Interesting game. It looks as though the keys to the Nets car have been handed over to these three guys, in my opinion, four guys, I'm sorry. Number one would be Mikal Bridges, who's sitting at 7-4, and you can really consider him. Spencer Dinwiddie at 7-1, and then you've got Cameron Johnson is only 5'3", so he's going to garner a lot of ownership there. And Nicholas Claxton, we know he can, break a slate at 6'4". So none of the guys are crazy overpriced. DFS is adjusting to all of this stuff, but those are the four guys that I would consider going forward for a while, including this game. Dorian Finney-Smith, like I said when he was with the Mavs, he's just not an offensive player at all. And so I'm not tempted at that 4-1 number, especially when they have all that depth off the bench. I can't believe that they don't give Cam Thomas more of a role. The dude is only threw up like 40, 50-point games when they gave him the opportunity. It's just amazing. I mean, I know defensively he's not anything to write home about, but my goodness, give the kid a chance. He's only 5'4", but you can't trust his minutes. Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, sort of the old club. I think they're going to fade, and Seth Curry. They don't need those guys. They're not going anywhere. Those guys are not part of the future, in my opinion. So I would focus more on that, foursome of, in order of Bridges, Dinwiddie, Johnson, and Claxton. Those would be the guys I'd focus on there. On the Knicks side, you can always buy up, which I'm considering, to one of the two Knicks studs. Jalen Brunson is 8'6", which is getting a little bit of a stomach ache. He was lower than that. Julius Randle up to 9'5". Remember when we were getting Julius at like 7'9" and 8'1"? That was great. Mitch Robb is starting to become relevant a little bit again. He's only 5K. RJ Barrett's not good. Quentin Grimes, quickly. I guess Josh Hart, I played him. He's come through for me, but I always feel like I'm, biting my nails off, wanting him to get more minutes and more opportunities. And sometimes he just gets there at the end, but he's only 5'2". So he does get a big roll off that bench. And I think that price is really good, but they still have a lot of depth there too. They're really positioning themselves for a little bit of a playoff run. Having Hartenstein, Toppins, Sims, Rose, for goodness sakes. I forgot the name Evan Fournier, poor guy. He'll be out of the league here soon, but they do have depth. And, this game is definitely interesting from the aspect of, I think you could really go with a one-off or even 2-1 here and get there. It is the second night of a back-to-back for Brooklyn. So are they going to baby any of these guys? I mean, they've rotated some guys anyway, but it is something to take note of that it is the second night of a back-to-back. It is an island game for the Knicks. The big problem here, though, is pace. And that's my concern about wanting to go 2 or 3 deep in this game, is the Knicks are sitting right now at 25th and Brooklyn 22nd. So you're not going to get those extra possessions that you may need to take something down. Defensively isn't that bad either. The Nets are 13th, but I expect that may go down a little bit. Although Mikal Bridges, shutdown defender, Dorian Finney-Smith, shutdown defender, Royce O'Neal off the bench is a shutdown defender. So they're not the worst. So that's something to keep in mind. You're not just going to get these giant scores in the Brooklyn games. Knicks are 10th, though, and especially with Mitch Robb back and his rim protection, they're better defensively. So this is a tough one. This is the toughest game on the slate for me to make some decisions on. I'm not going to fade it, even though all those stats I just read you would say, put a circle around this of red and scared of going too heavily ownership in this game because of those aspects of numbers, and really not spinning out a whole lot of big production here. And there is some sharing of the ball. But I still can see myself with a buy up to either Brunson or Randall, and then going with one of what I still consider value guys in a Bridges, Johnson, or Dinwiddie. But not a stackable game, in my opinion, but not a game that you want to completely fade either. Okay. I know, David, I'm teasing you, my friend. You got to tease your brothers. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Anybody else? Any other questions in there? No. Okay. All right, let's keep rolling then. How we doing on folks? Oh, we haven't added too many yet. So let's keep getting in there. I want to add a ticket to the mix here. We've got one more game, then we'll give away one of the tickets. We'll also talk about ownership after this next game, and then we will move forward. All right, next game. This is the one that I guess we'll talk about ownership now, because we're just taking all the Lakers. And I get it. It was like that yesterday, and it's 100 times worse today because there's no AD. So let's just go right to latest ownership numbers. I'm going to refresh so we get them actually to the minute. Let's see what we've got here. All right. For DraftKings, would you believe 1, 2, 3, 4, top 4 guys, all Lakers? These are projected ownership as of right now. Jared Vanderbilt, 74% on a 9-game slate. Good Lord in heaven. Rui Hachimura, 61%. No. Malik Beasley, 60. Dennis Schroeder, 35. So you've got some choices there. What am I looking to do? I'm not going to stack the Lakers, but I want the right exposure. I think, a lot of people's slates are going to come down to, do you pick the right Lakers or not? I don't think the strategy is, I don't know why people do that. I think it's suicide mission for your lineups. People that roster 4 or 5 guys from one team on a 9-game slate, there's not enough fantasy points to go around. You have to make a determination of who you want out of these guys. If you roster Vanderbilt, Hachimura, Beasley, and Schroeder, you're going to lose. I know that that's against what a lot of people will talk about out there and say, hey, take 3, 4 Lakers, fill in the rest. I know they're super cheap. I know they're going to get big minutes. There's just not enough points to go around. And you can't skate by like you used to years ago and get 300 score and feel good about it. You're not even going to cash. So Vanderbilt's only 49, Hachimura 37, Beasley 45, and Schroeder 54. Tons of interest there. For me, I would lean more towards Vanderbilt and Schroeder or Vanderbilt and Beasley. I'm not sold on Hachimura at all. In fact, he's a full fade for me. If I go with 2 Lakers, that would be the max that I'd go to. I may only go with 1, and that may be my big differentiator today. All right, the rest will go. Here's the other top 20 on DraftKings as we sit right now. Rozier, Giddey, Morant, and I'll tell you what, Morant had a run the other day that was just insanity. Ingram, Dort, Giannis, Julius Randle, Claxton, Tatum at 10-6. Dario Saric, for God's sakes. I said Dario Saric. James Wiseman, Mikal Bridges. So that's where the top dogs sit right now on DraftKings. And by the way, if you join Coach Talk, you get the full list, all the ownership for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo for the complete lineup every day. Our man, BFC, is going to post those in our Discord about an hour before lock. So you'll get to see all of these up to date prior to lock. On FanDuel, it is Vanderbilt, Beasley, Schroeder, and those guys are 41, 52, and 64%. Hachimura, Giddey, Morant, Ingram. Here we go. Anthony Simons, the guy that was moved from out to questionable, certainly gaining some attention on FanDuel at 21%. Giannis, so Crash is going to be interested tonight. Jalen Brunson, Rozier, Jalen Williams with no Y, Jan, Jeremy Grant, Oubre, Levine, Şengün, I don't trust Şengün's minutes anymore. Seem to be babying him because they don't want to win. They want to add Wembanyama to Şengün for next year. And then on Yahoo, which, we love Yahoo here at Coach Talk, by the way. Jared Vanderbilt sitting at 59%. I know he really crushed people's souls the other day. This could be a nice comeback for him. He's only $19 on Yahoo. It's going to be hard to get away from that. Beasley's only 13. The sucker play Hachimura is only 11. I'm not playing him. Rozier, Giddey, Morant again. Weissman, who's $11, man. How do you pass that up on a starting center that should get decent minutes? Tough. Dennis Smith Jr., as we said, if he's listed as the starter, certainly a interesting play. Giannis is 56 bananas. Lots of bananas there for Giannis. 56 dinero. If you want to pay it, it always can be worth it. Are they going to need him against Orlando, though? We'll talk about that. DeRozan, Ingram, Schroeder, Claxton, Tatum, Valanciunas. I haven't seen him on a board a long time. And the beard himself, Mr. James Harden, makes the Yahoo slate. 2 Lakers, I'll usually play, no Rui. Doug L., you're reading my mind, man. Let's see here. What else we got? Yes, hit the like button. We would appreciate that. Let's get some more folks in here. Try to get that up to that 50 number so we can get it done. All right, we move to the next game. We got ownership updated, and now we're going to move on to an 8 o'clock game of Memphis and Houston. So we've got 3 8 o'clock games. First one is 37-23 Memphis against 13-48 Houston. Injuries, really nothing to speak of. Larivia, the rookie from Memphis, or maybe second year, a kid out of Wake Forest. And then Steven Adams still out for Memphis. Houston has Kevin Porter probable. He should play tonight. And Jayshawn Tate is questionable. So it does change some things there. Memphis is on the second night of a back-to-back, just like Houston is. And that is definitely interesting. Does that affect my ownership in Ja Morant? Yes, it does. Does the fact that Memphis is favored by 10 affect it? Yes, it does. Does the fact that it's a 231 total and it's a Houston game and it's not closer to 235 to 238? Yes, it does. I'm going to fade Ja Morant today. I watched him in that stretch in the third quarter. Was it last night? The nights mixed together. He was literally unguardable. I mean, unbelievable. But it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't think this game stays close. I think Houston is pathetic. They don't want to win. I know, but they get Porter back. They might get Tate back. I just don't know, man. The other thing I'll say is please don't fall for that big Xavier Tillman game. Please don't do it. I know people are going to do it. They're going to see that he went ballistic, like whatever, how many X, 16X or whatever he did. That was a fluke. Yes, it's against Houston, who doesn't defend. Tillman, I just don't see it, man. It just looks like such a sucker play to go right back to him. I mean, they split some minutes. The ball was falling in his hand. I think it could have bounced off his head and went in. It was just one of those perfect games for him, and I just don't see him repeating it. I think he's going to grab some interest. I know he wasn't on the board real up high that we were talking about, but I would not go there. Dylan Brooks, first of all, I don't know if you saw him walking into the game with the outfit he had on yesterday. If you haven't, look it up. It was absolutely hilarious. Like 3/4 cut jeans and like, I don't know what he had on, some kind of just vest or something. That dude is an interesting guy. And he still thinks he can shoot. Dylan Brooks is so bad. It's just awful to watch. Maybe a Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson. He's done a little better not getting in foul trouble, but does the game stay close enough? Can you afford those guys? And then you've got Houston now that, they have more of a rotation with Porter, Green, Martin, Smith, Şengün, Tate if he's back, Terry Eason. I know Crash and Deb liked Eason a lot. Deb was real high on Eason in the draft show we did before the draft. He had a game out of his mind too. He's only 4-1. I think he's a more logical play if you're really looking for a value swing of the bat. They played Daishawn Nix some, Josh Christopher, Garuba gets in, even Boban played the other day. So I don't know. I mean, it is a 230.5, but I think this game is lopsided. I don't think it's stackable. Maybe a 7-8 Bane if you're going to spend up, or a 7-7 Jackson. I think those are fair prices for Memphis. Could get just a crush game from one of those two. If you want to really feel comfortable with going with a Rocket, you can roll out Şengün, but he's 7-8. Jabari Smith can be such a bum at times. He is 5'9". I don't feel comfortable, though. I think Eason at 4-1, maybe. KJ Martin's minutes aren't safe, and he's too expensive at 5'7". And I don't like when Porter and Green play at 7'6" and 6'5". No, thank you. All right, Crash. I think Crash wants to hear about this Lakers Thunder game because I fooled you. He thought I was going to say the Bucks. But we talked about the ownership on this Lakers Thunders game, and then I skipped it. So we're going to go on it right now. So let's talk about this Lakers game a little bit. It is a 3.5 total, and it's a 228 total, 3.5 line. 112.25 implied for the Lakers, 115.75 for the Thunder. So we talked ad nauseum about these Lakers. If you want to take one or two of them, absolutely. I think it's necessary. Don't stack four of them. It's just not going to play out well. They still have Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker. Did you see his dunk yesterday? Good God, can that guy jump? He's going to get minutes. Wenyen Gabriel's going to get a bunch of minutes. He played decent yesterday or the other day, and yesterday because it's the second night of a back-to-back. That's why AD's sitting. And same thing with the Thunder, second night of back-to-back. So where do you go there? I mean, the depth is still there. I know that there's no Davis and LeBron, so people are going to lose their marbles. But there's 9 guys I just mentioned that are going to get some minutes. So don't go nuts with the Lakers. Plus, I know the Thunder are only a 3.5-point favorite. They're playing decent basketball this season. Giddey's a nice young up-and-comer. I love Isaiah Joe's game. He plays with so much heart. Both Williams kids are playing well. The no Y Williams, the smaller one, he is good. He's just damn good. He's 6'2" and is well worth it. I think he's a good play here. I prefer Thunder guys in this game, which is probably very contrarian. But I could get to Giddey, a Joe, a Dort even at 5'1". Dort shows the biggest jump in usage and scoring with no SGA out there. So remember, with SGA off the floor, this is a different team. Everything opens up for them. I mean, I think both Williams are playable. I mean, especially now that we have no Kenrich Williams. You're going to get backup center minutes from JRE, who's not really a center in my opinion. But you've got 3-7 for the other Jalen Williams. There may be a lineup today, and I'm not embarrassed to say it, where I may have both Jalen Williams. I know that sounds nuts, but I think 2 guys from the Thunder here make perfect sense. 115.75 is not a bad total. And I think that they could just have their way with the Lakers. They could just shred them. And if it stays close enough, like Vegas thinks, this could be a fine game. So going with 1 Laker or 2 and 1 or 2 from the Thunder, I think is the right approach. Yes, with a 9-game slate, if I have 3 or 4 from this game, this is going to be a key game for me, but in a different manner. I think you're going to see a lot of teams with 3 Lakers and no Thunder or something of that nature. And I don't think that's the right build strategy today, in my opinion. So I do like this game. I think you've got some really sharp plays you can go to here. You just have to decide how much, where you want to put those dollars. And again, the value today is, it almost doesn't matter because there's so much value everywhere that you don't have to stress it. So if you want to go all the way up to maybe the top 2 from the Thunder in Giddey and the Jalen Williams without the Y, you could go there too. All right, we've got that covered, my friends. Let's move to the next one. It is Crash's lovable game here. Let me see here. Brooks start off 0 for 6. Yeah, he doesn't care. He's going to shoot the ball until it goes in or doesn't go in. He doesn't care. Love OKC pieces, according to Doug L. Al Horford, more than 8.5 points. Jalen Williams with no Y, more than 16.5 points. Solid. I like it. I do think those are good plays. Doug L, don't fall for it, according to a boy from Cali. What's he falling for? Lopez or Claxton on FanDuel? Interesting. Lopez, I don't know about that. Hump Day vibes from King of All Trades. All right. We needed KOT in here. Let's go. Let's go. We needed you in here, my friend. About time you joined us. All right. let's get back. We still have games to do here. How many games we got left? 2. That's it. So no, 3. We've got Orlando, Milwaukee. Milwaukee's 44-17. I got to say earlier that I think Boston's going to win the East over Milwaukee, just so Crash would fall out of his chair and throw something at the wall. But now luckily, the Beard Gang. All right. I love it, man. But let's look at this game. We got that whole scenario. Is it going to blow out? It's crappy Orlando at Milwaukee. Does Milwaukee care about this game? Are they going to look past it? We'll see. 118.7 implied, 5 implied for Milwaukee, 109.75 for Orlando. It's a 228.5 total. Milwaukee favored by 9, but that could go a lot of different directions. Second night of a back-to-back for Milwaukee, a concern. And it is an island game for Orlando, so who knows with that. You've got all kinds of problems here with Orlando. Depth. They don't want to win. They're in Milwaukee. Lots of scary things. Fultz, Harris, Franz Wagner, Banchero, Carter Jr., Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, Mo Wagner, Cole Anthony, Bol, Goga Batadze, Chuma Okeke. Are you kidding me? Michael Carter Williams. I mean, you got a coach that doesn't want to win, and you've got about 11 guys in their rotation. Milwaukee's a strong defensive team. Milwaukee's 3rd in the league defensively. So how do you really feel about, rostering some Orlando guys? 0 for me. Easy. No sense in wasting more time there. Orlando 14th in defense, not the worst in the world. So they should be proud of themselves there. And the 2 teams are dead in the middle in pace, 16th and 14th. So there's nothing to write home about there. I do respect the 228.5 total from Vegas. That is something. That means something. But, Giannis at 12-3 in a crappy team against a crappy team like Orlando. Does Orlando throw a fluke game in there, keep it close, and Giannis breaks the slate? Maybe. Am I going to game script that? No. It's back-to-back. They need Giannis if they're going to try to win a championship. They need him 100% healthy. It just doesn't make sense to me that you put all your eggs in that basket today. I know Middleton's out, so that does help Giannis and Holiday, and people are going to use that as a reason. And Jonathan Isaac, by the way, is questionable for Orlando. And Wesley Matthews, who I think Crash had in all his lineups, is also questionable. Just joking, Crash. So what do we do with this game? Is there anywhere to go? For me, that answer is if I want to spend up for Drew Holiday mid-priced at 8.8, that would be the spot I would think about with Milwaukee. We have Portis now playing again at 7.3. People are saying they like Brook Lopez, which you can trust him as far as you can throw him, in my opinion. I just don't like the game. I know, Crash, you probably like this game a little bit, but I'm not comfortable spending up here, and I don't think the value is really worth getting. So, you could basically go off what I'm saying in this game. Oh, really? Fade the game too for Crash. That's awesome. And a little call to arms there from BFC there, Crash. He says Orlando keeps the game close. So we will see, my friend. Very interesting. This isn't going to be a key game for me, though. I am going to be probably have no exposure here whatsoever. Now, let's talk about the other game that I'd like to stack. It's the last game on the slate. Did I miss any? Let me know in here if I missed any, because I get off on a tangent and I'm not there. So we know that I'm going to have decent exposure, even though it's going to be a little bit different than most people are going to do in that Lakers Thunder game. Going to have a lot of one-offs that I've mentioned throughout. The other game that you can't avoid, it's the Pelicans and Trailblazers. You have the highest total and a close line and 2 teams trying to get into the playoffs. This is a key game. I'll have quite a bit of exposure here. It's a 233 total. Portland's favored only by 1.5, and it's the only duo that break that 115 barrier for me as two teams. 115.75 implied for the Pelicans and 117.25 for the Trailblazers. Other reasons that back me up here, you've got the Pelicans 12th in pace, which is a nice pace up for Portland. Portland's only 24th in pace, but things have changed some since they've made a few moves since the All-Star break. It is the second night of a back-to-back for Portland, so that's something that we have to keep in mind. But defensively, the Pels are 9th, but that they've been struggling a little bit there, and Portland does not play defense well whatsoever. They're 27th. So I think that the reason I like this game a lot is, you've got some, we need to know some news for sure, though. Let's talk about that first. Again, Simons, as brought up here in chat, is moved from out to questionable, so I think he plays. After that, Arcidiacono, Baji, Nurkic, and Winslow are out. For the Pelicans, you have Josh Richardson and Jonas Valanciunas as probable. Out is Alvarado, Liddell, Nance, and Zion Cheeseburgers Williamson. So what does it look like for starters? Let's talk about the projected starting lineups here, because it's key in this build if this is going to be a key game for us. Pelicans, by the way, are 30-32, and Trailblazers 29-32. So you have teams basically deadlocked, trying desperately to get into the playoffs, and every game counts. So I expect this to be high-scoring, high-shooting game here where you're going to get a good chance to finish the night, and it's 2 hours later than every other game. That is weird. So we're going to be sitting for quite a while waiting to get to these guys, but I think the wait's going to be worth it. So anyway, projected starting lineups. One side has McCollum, Richardson, Ingram, Jones, and Joval against Lillard, Simons, Thibault, Grant, and Eubanks. See if we have anything different over here. This one has Lillard, Reddish, Thibault, Grant, and Eubanks. That's obviously dependent if Simons doesn't play. So pretty much the same. Simons in or out, we'll have to know. Like I said, I am not going to target Simons. It does elevate the rest of the guys if he sits and takes a little bit away from especially Lillard if he plays. So where do you go here? I mean, do you go all the way up to Lillard? I mean, he is playing at a level that is just insane. And I haven't used a big giant pay up. So I faded in the last game because I thought after that 71 performance, he would take the gas, pedal off the gas a bit. And he did. He was okay. But it's 3 games in 4 nights. And I saw an absolutely exhausted Damian Lillard on that 71-point night. So it does scare me a bit that, that he's going to have enough in the tank. But he's playing at such an inhuman level that I think it's worth, a consideration. Is it worth it at that price is going to be your call. Again, there's 9 million value plays today, but he is 11-9. That is a massive number for a guard that needs to score. I mean, if you're going to pay 11-9 for Dame and he gets under 40 real points, you're sort of screwed. So that's the big decision you have to make. I think you could look at a Grant at 7-1 as a little bit more reasonable play price-wise. If you want to go, if you do want to risk Simons, if the news comes out that there's no limitations, I think that he might be a good play if he does, if that's the case. Unless I see that news, some coach speak or beat writer info, I'm not going to completely go there. But I think you can consider it. Drew Eubanks is still only 4-4 if you want to really punt a center spot, which is possible. On the Pels side, there's some good buys here. CJ McCollum at 7-5 is cheap. I think he's a super play. Josh Richardson at 5-4, I think is a really good play. Brandon Ingram at 8-3 is a nice pay up option in my opinion. And not sure on Joval at 6-5 if you're going to get the minutes out of him. So I'm not going to go there. But having 2 Pelicans you're going to see in a lot of my lineups, and 1, maybe even 2 at the very most on the Portland side. So key game there for me as well, no question about it. So that's really what I'm looking at. So again, let's talk about a couple of things here. Pay up options. Let's see. Pay up options. Again, Lillard's certainly one of those options that you can look at. It depends on what you consider pay up today, because with so many guys out, you're going to have a lot of people going to Ja Morant. And I get it, because there's just not as much pay up potential. And he did have a stretch yesterday where he looked unstoppable. That's reasonable. Giannis, some people will bite the bullet there. You see him on those top lists. It's not going to be me on this slate, and Crash agrees. So we're both, the Coach Talk family's in that group together. Again, I said either Brunson or Randall. I think you can feel good about paying up there. If Embiid's in, that is always a possibility, just because he's so incredible. But the game setting there just isn't that phenomenal. I've already mentioned I'm not going up to the Jason Tatums and Donovan Mitchells and those guys. I hate that game script there, without question. Phoenix, if you want to take a shot at spending a ton of money on Paul, on Booker, on Durant, on Aiden, and then just hope that you choose the right one, that's certainly up to you. But that's probably not somewhere I'm going to be going. So again, my pool of pay up guys are like 4 or 5 guys. I'll have maybe 2 or 3 of those, probably 2. I'll have a lot of medium-sized build guys that I think are value at 7, even 8, 8-4. Some of these guys like the Brunsons or Butlers or Harden possibly, if Embiid sits, that is. Guys like a Desmond Bane or a Drew Holiday. And then, a Josh Giddey. Again, I like the value guys of maybe the ones I like from the Lakers are the Vanderbilt, Schroeder, or Beasley. Possibly on the other side on Oklahoma City, the Williams brothers. They're not really brothers, of course, but the Jalen Williamses, the smaller one, a little bit better than the bigger one, but they're both in play. And then you've got that option. I like Brandon Ingram a lot today. I think he's a great option. Jeremy Grant. So there's all that group is that mid-level pricing. And then again, pick your value. It's up to you. It's everywhere. You cannot avoid the value today. I think Mark Williams is still a value at center. I think you can go down to couple of different spots here also. Let's see, the whole Brooklyn scenario, Dinwiddie, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, all affordable, especially Cam Johnson there. All playable commodities there. Şengün, a little pricey, and they haven't been playing in the extended minutes, so be a little wary there. I forgot to mention Jaren Jackson. Jackson is another possible pay-up guy, or Desmond Bane. If you're not going with Morant, I don't believe in stacking Memphis here. I think you either go Bane, Jackson, or Morant, and don't jam them all together, because I don't think that game stays close enough long enough. And then a couple of other value plays. Obviously, the Lakers guys, don't even need to go over that. I still like Isaiah Joe. I think the kid at any given time can throw a monster game on the board, and he's got a lot of guts, a lot of heart. I think that's another value piece. And if you want to go into that last game, Drew Eubanks, if you want to go cheaper there, a little riskier on Thibault, even a Herb Jones, and I think McCollum is underpriced. So that should give everybody a really good feel for what my thoughts are on this slate. Again, we'll be providing lineups for our members. If you have not become part of the Coach Talk family, this is the time to do it. I'm going to give both tickets away right now because I got so carried away I didn't get into them. But I'm going to give both tickets away. If I call your name, I'm going to hit the randomizer. So if you haven't made a comment in chat, this would be the time to do it, because that's going to choose somebody from there to win those 2 tickets. If I do call you, just like you will do if you want to take advantage, or if you do both. If you win a ticket and you want to become a member for free from now until Sunday, go to @DFS Coach Talk on Twitter. And all you have to do is say, I want to take advantage of the March Madness freebie. and say, I won one of the 2 tickets that you gave away today on the podcast. But hello, Garage Junkie Productions. I missed you when I was chatting up a storm in here. Great to see you in there with us as well. All right, the first winner of a ticket today, too bad it was Deborah Lutz, but Deborah's disqualified. I'm sorry, Deb. Now, it's nice to know that you came up, though, as a winner. All right, the first winner is Doug L. Doug L has the most wins. I'm going to go on record and say Doug L has more free ticket wins than anybody else in the history of DFS Coach Talk. And the second ticket goes to Daniel Uher. Daniel Uher, one of the more newer folks to the group. So those are our 2 winners. Definitely hit us up on Twitter and we'll get those tickets out to you. I'm glad I could be with you today. Enjoyed it. I hope that this really helps you get a full look at the entire slate, gets you plugged into some really contrarian things today. I think I was a little against the chalk. So maybe different than Boy from Cali chalk-wise today, and going to go with some winners from there. So love to have you. Thanks for joining in today, sticking with us. We had a good group the whole time. We didn't have anybody fade out, even though we went an hour and a half. Appreciate all of you, and thank you so much for being Coach Talk members and listeners. Certainly, Crash will be back tomorrow for that 4-game slate. I know on Fridays is Deb Day, so she'll be all fired up for that. And hopefully you enjoy those tickets to those that want them, and you can get some winners, and that you'll continue to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and enjoy DFS Coach Talk. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Appreciate all of you, and we will be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA DFS.